Happy Festivus, everyone. This is the third edition of the Locked On Festivus episode. Host of Locked On A's, Jason Burke, and I have done this for the last 2 years. This is our third edition. We are doing a special fun crossover edition for the holidays. It's going to be a lot of fun. But first, this episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline is where the game starts. This is a four-way crossover episode, a yearly edition. Just a lot of fun, not like a normal Locked On episode, but still lots of joy. So without further ado, let's get into it. Happy Festivus.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, with that, let's bring some people on. First, we're going to go with Nick Morawski of Locked On White Sox, and then followed by Scotty Bentley of Locked On Tigers, followed by Bryce Patrick of Rangers. Happy Festivus, everybody. How's everybody doing? Wave, everybody, wave. Cool. We did that. Wonderful job. So for people that are not familiar with Festivus, what we're basically doing is a 25-year-old joke from Seinfeld, and we're just making content out of it. Myself and Bryce down over there, we have done this 3 years in a row where we just sit here and we complain about our teams, and then we do feats of strength where we nominate our biggest home run slugger and determine who's going to hit the most home runs in the next season. I think that I win every year because the A's have been good, but this year it might have a chance. And then we're adding a new wrinkle this year because we looked something up, and we're doing Festivus miracles, which are explained as or defined as easily explainable events that we declare miracles. And so we're going to take a look at the coming season and declare some things Festivus miracles for our teams. So without further ado, thank you guys so much for making Locked On A's and Locked On White Sox and Locked On Tigers and Locked On Rangers even your first stop of the day. We're available on every platform. Let's go around and tell everybody where we can be found on social media. I'm at @JasonB on Twitter, and Locked On A's on Twitter and on Instagram. Nick, where can people find you?
On Twitter at Nick_GGTB, and Locked On Sox on Twitter, just at Locked On Sox.
Scotty, down there, what do we got for you?
Twitter at Bentley Scotty, and then the Locked On Tigers account is at Locked On Tigers, and then I also do Locked On Red Wings if you're a hockey fan, so at LO_Red Wings.
And then, Bryce, where can the people find your coverage of the Texas Rangers?
You can find me on Twitter at Bryce Patrick, and you can find the show at Locked On Rangers as well. We got the first one, and not the hockey Rangers.
That's always the fun thing. And when I'm trying to look up people to tag, I'm like, okay, do they have the first one, or do I have to go LO_? Is it all one? What am I looking for here? It gets confusing. But that's a different thing that I can complain about. I have plenty to complain about the A's, but first, let's start off because I'm very intrigued to hear what Bryce Patrick has to complain about because his team just signed Jacob deGrom. I want to know what you got on your plate here. I know generally where the other two guys are going. Bryce, what are you complaining about here? Where are your grievances with this team?
Well, my grievances with this team aren't as much with the team. It's more with the world. You know, for many, many years, people have forgotten that the Texas Rangers used to be really, really good at baseball. I mean, I forgot that too. But I feel like there's not...
I will never forget that. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. 2011 ended great for us. So, nothing went wrong there. But I feel like the Rangers aren't getting enough respect. We're disrespected. This is one of the better rotations in all of baseball by adding Jacob deGrom, by adding Andrew Heaney. They have 5 legitimately good starters and then some really nice depth if somebody gets hurt, which seems entirely possible with Dane Dunning kind of sitting in there as the number 6 starter. The lineup is really darn good. The team had a bad record last year, but had a much, much better Pythagorean record. A horrible run of one-run games where they lost 30-1, I believe, maybe 10 12, just an awful record. But this team is much, much better on paper than people think. There has been a lot of crapping on the Rangers for, oh, look at this team spending money again for no reason. Blah, 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 blah. It's so stupid. Why would you spend money on good players? And I'm kind of fed up with it. Like, this team should be good. They are trying to be good. And people need to realize, I think they will this year, that the Rangers are going to be a dangerous, dangerous team next year.
Okay, so Bryce, you guys spent money on good players. Scott, last offseason, you guys signed Javi Baez. What's that about? Give me some of your grievances.
That was a heck of a transition, let me just say. Yeah, no, I mean, this is a very impatient fan base at this point, rightfully so. And yeah, it's year 7 of a rebuild, and we're still pretty much major league record wise. Like, we haven't really taken any steps forward from year 1 to year 7, which is obviously very frustrating. And yeah, last offseason was the first time that this team spent money, period, in like 5 or 6 years. And it was on Javi Baez, who did not have a very good year whatsoever, one of his worst offensive seasons of his career, along with leading the league in errors. And then Eduardo Rodriguez, who went MIA and didn't communicate with the team. And I'm not sure how it wasn't a bigger story. He just completely left and stopped having contact with the front office for 3 months, and then just like reappeared. He wasn't hurt or anything, just kind of dipped. So yeah, it was a heck of a season. Like, the most unimaginable things you can ever think of happened all in 1 year for Detroit, and it was certainly highlighted by the 2 big free agent signings that we had last year. Yeah.
So congrats on that. As an A's fan, I enjoy your misery, but also the A's haven't been doing much, to vault themselves over the Tigers in that same span of time. They haven't
been over the Tigers in my lifetime. We can talk about the postseason if you want. It's been a while since the A's have been over the Tigers.
I mean, yeah. Let's not do that. Let's talk about a different team that the A's have been over in the postseason, going to the White Sox over here, and they signed a player in Andrew Benintendi, who I don't know if he's good or bad. He's middle of the road, maybe above average. I don't know. Tell me why you're excited about him and what your grievances are with the White Sox and all of that stuff, Nick.
Well, Benintendi, lefty bat. We need a corner outfielder because the folks that were playing the outfield this past season, one of them was a natural first baseman, and Andrew Vaughn, and the other was Eloy Jimenez, who couldn't stay healthy just walking from the outfield into the dugout. He would, a lot of non-contact injuries. So we needed an outfielder. We needed a corner outfielder. And if somebody were to say, hey, Sox have got to be, one of those teams that have a, $150, $200 million contract somewhere in their history, right? They're a big market team. I would say no. The Chicago White Sox are actually one of the 3 or 4 teams in all of baseball that have never given out a $100 million contract. And before this signing, Yasmani Grandal was our biggest contract ever. 4 years, $73 million. And now Andrew Benintendi is our largest contract ever at 5 years, $75 million. Look, the Sox have a lot of holes to fill. They had one of the most disappointing seasons in franchise history. We had a manager that should have never been the manager. Unfortunately, you have to take a leave of absence due to health issues. We were predicted to be not only winning the AL Central, but advance in the playoffs. None of that happened. Bad chemistry, just bad performance, injuries left and right. And you got a general manager that's saying to the fan base, don't look at us to throw money at problems to fix things. Yet that's exactly what they've done so far. It's thrown money at Mike Clevenger early to, get a 5th starter and throw money at Benintendi. So confusing stuff. This team should be good on paper. They look like they can still compete, but we need management to step up and fill a lot still.
I mean, it feels like the White Sox should be a lot better than they have been. I mean, maybe Andrew Benintendi gets it there, and left field defense has really been what's been hurting you guys. But from an A's standpoint, I don't know where to begin, honestly. You guys know the cycle that A's front office goes through all the time. Every few years, they're trading a bunch of guys away. We just traded Sean Murphy this week as we are recording this. It'll be a week and a half away as you guys are hearing this. They might move the team to Vegas. I don't know. Rob Manfred likes to throw his weight around on this issue, and the A's have moved very far with the city of Oakland. They have done nothing with Las Vegas in about a year and a half. So I'm intrigued to see what they think Vegas has to offer them that they haven't offered already. I mean, we'll see. Also, I'm grieved that the Astros won the World Series. It's not really like a thing that the A's are at fault for, but really, who else was going to stop them? The Rangers? The Angels? No, it should have been the A's, and they didn't. So I'm aggrieved at that as well. That is my grievance with this team. There's a lot, but trading everybody away, maybe moving the team. Those are the big two that I can name off the top of my head.
They're pretty big.
But those are pretty big. Coming up, we're going to be doing feats of strength. But Bryce, I think you got some words for us.
I do. This episode is brought to you by the NHTSA. You're hanging out with some friends, putting back a few drinks, and a few becomes a few too many. As the evening comes to an end and people start to head out, you think of calling for a ride. But nah, you live nearby. You can make it home okay. It's no big deal. What are the odds you'll get pulled over anyway? And even so, what's the worst that could happen? Your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you lose your job, you total your car, you kill someone. Everyone knows about the risks of driving drunk. The results are tragic and often deadly. However, that still doesn't stop everyone from getting behind the wheel while under the influence. That's why police officers are out there right now looking for impaired drivers on our roads to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Play it safe and plan ahead to get a ride. It only takes one mistake to change your life or someone else's forever. Drive sober or get pulled over.
And with that, welcome back to this special Festivus episode of Locked On A's, White Sox, Tigers, and Rangers. I'm not trying to keep you last every time. You're just in the bottom right. That's just how I read is all it is here, Bryce. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, all of our shows are available on YouTube. So go check out YouTube and subscribe, like, comment on all of those. Because if you're a fan of the A's, White Sox, Rangers, there you go, Bryce, or Tigers, then commenting down below on YouTube is how it helps the show grow, because YouTube has a weird algorithm, and that is what does it, apparently. So comment below and say, wow, this is what I ask my listeners to do. Say, wow, you four gentlemen are so good at baseball and so handsome. So comment that down below, and let's see if we can get some engagement down there. But let's talk about the feats of strength. Usually, when Bryce and I have done this in the past with a myriad of hosts, we nominate just our best power hitters. I don't know who's going to still be on the team still, so I have three, and I'll go over those guys here in a minute. But let's start with you, Scotty.
You only get one.
I'm going to nominate one at the end, but I have three choices, and I'm going to let everybody know.
By the way, I won last year. I nominated Corey Seager, and he had 33 home runs this year, which is more than, I don't remember who you nominated, but it's more than anybody who had on the A's. So I think I won that one.
1-1. Okay. All right. Scott, who is your feat of strength champion going to be?
This is a really, really bad question for me. I feel like I should not be a part of this conversation. I genuinely feel
feat
like
of weakness.
I should leave the show and come back when this segment is over. This is not me at all.
So, Scott, who is your best contact hitter?
I would still leave the show. There is no part of offense that you could ask me for, and I would be positive. No, this was one of the worst power hitting teams of the modern era. I'm not sure people really realize just how bad the Tigers offense was. It wasn't pretty bad. It wasn't like, oh, maybe one of the worst in baseball. It was one of the worst offenses in like modern baseball. And that started with the fact that we were dead last in home run totals and a large amount behind 29th as a team home run total. It wasn't like we only missed out by a couple of homers of being 29th either. Yeah, I think our leading home run hitter this year was Javi, and he ended with like 17 or 18. And that was like, got kind of hot in September. I think with 2 weeks left, we didn't have anybody who had 15. And I think in August, we didn't have anyone in double digits. So it was a complete train wreck. It will continue to be a complete train wreck. We have not added a single major league bat so far, and it's December 17th at the time of this recording. So I guess I'll go Javi, but he could hit 13 and probably lead next year's team in homers. So
what about
I don't plan on beating any of y'all, but I'm glad you got me first and out of the way early so that I can let the actual competition begin.
Oh, I thank you. By ceding the ground to the actual competition in the A's. No.
Right.
Nick, you've got some interesting guys. You got a lot of guys that can hit the crap out of the ball. Who is going to be your nominee from the White Sox?
Yeah, we had a power outage on the south side this past season. Nobody got to 20 home runs on the White Sox. Our high water mark was 17. Andrew Vaughn, who is going to be taking over Jose Abreu since they let him walk. He had 17. He also had RBIs as well. I don't think he's going to be the guy, though. I think he's going to have a good year. I think with the fact that Eloy Jimenez is not going to be forced to roam left field anymore, and he's actually going to be a DH, I could see him staying healthy, hopefully, and hitting 40-plus home runs. Between him and Luis Robert, if Robert could stay healthy as well, another guy that Sox fans have not seen healthy for a full season. Between them two, we've got some mashers. We really do. It's just all about health. So I'm going to pick Eloy Jimenez. He wants to play left field, but the fact that they just gave Andrew Benintendi the largest contract in White Sox history, there's not going to be a hybrid situation of Jimenez and Benintendi out there. Jimenez is going to be your DH, and I think he's my guy. He's going to hit 40 home runs if he stays healthy.
I like it. I mean, you could also just trade Eloy to the A's. That'd be fine. So I'll throw him in left field and you can laugh at him if you want to. That'd be great.
That left field, that fast left field. Oh my goodness! You've seen the video of him getting trapped in the net down the left field line. Maybe you haven't, but
America.
Yeah, he was roaming for a foul ball and he couldn't make the play and ended up getting tangled up in the net. It's a whole thing.
I think that he got hurt against the A's playing left field twice in the same season. Once was in spring training, and then later on. And I'm like, we don't play this team very often. What are the chances? What are the odds of that happening?
He got hurt celebrating. He got hurt celebrating near the mound after we won a game or something. He jumped and came down wrong on his knee. He's a mess. So I'm not saying he'll stay healthy even as the designated hitter. With all these rule changes, if we could figure out a designated runner, I'm just going to run for you. As soon as there's contact, I'm your runner. But he's got the power though. He's got the potential. So he's my guy.
I feel like you guys just signed Billy Hamilton, so there's your designated runner. But
that would be a great thing. Larger base path, bases, and you've got Billy Hamilton as your designated runner. That'd be perfect for us.
I'm constructing your team for you, but
you
Bryce, Bryce, who do you got? You won with Corey Seager last year. You got Marcus Semien over there, and that's just rude of you. I don't know. Who are you going to pick? It's probably going to be the winner because we got one guy that's got a Javi Baez and then another one that is hoping for health from a guy that has not stayed healthy historically. So who's going to be your person? And then I got some guys. Watch out.
Well, I mean, the Rangers had a pretty good This just feels like flexing at this point. I'm not intentionally trying, but the Rangers had 4 different players with 26 or more home runs. Semien had 26, and he didn't hit his first until a grand slam in Oakland in like one of the last days of May. It was a horrific start to the season for him. So I think I'm going to go with Marcus Semien. I mean, he ended up with 26 bombs, despite that, like, just honestly, you could not script a worse. Just everything was horrible for him for the first full 2 months with the Rangers. He got it all figured out, was really, really good in the back half of the season. Seager set a career high, had never had more than 26. He finished this year with 33, which was a record for the most by a left-handed hitting shortstop. I will give any of you $20 if you can tell me who had the record with the most home runs from a primarily left-handed shortstop in Major League history.
Oh, in history? Jesus.
He's an active player, and he has played for the Rangers.
Ooh, IKF, baby.
Left-handed.
Is he ready? Yeah, is he ready? I'm like, I don't know.
He also, his career high is like 6. So no.
Yeah, he's also not good. That was where I was going.
Any Rangers shortstops that aren't.
He hasn't. I'll give you this. He hasn't played shortstop for the Rangers. He's played third base, left field, and first.
Oh God.
Rougned
Okay.
Odor.
Oh, God,
Nope, never played short, and wasn't primary. I'll spoil it for you. Brad Miller had it with 30 with the Rays. I was completely shocked when he broke this record. I was like, "Is that really?"
Weird.
There's just been that few shortstops who were left-handed, and Corey Seager is one of them. But no, I think it's going to be Marcus Semien. It could be Nathaniel Lowe, and I kind of wanted to go wild card Mitch Garver, who had 10 in his 54 games, and he is hurt he only DH'd for like half the year, and then had surgery on his elbow. But I'm going to go with Semien. Feels like a much safer bet.
I'm going to say that you selected Jonah Heim because he is a favorite of mine. So
I love Jonah.
Heim is your selection. Cool.
That's fine. Honestly, fine. He might have 25 next year.
Yeah, he might still lead all of our guys anyway. So for the A's, I don't know where to go. Last year, the team leader was Seth Brown. He had 25. And he's probably going to, if he's still on the team, probably going to lead the team again. But there's also, is he going to be on the team? So I had to come up with some other solutions here. Dermis Garcia, lots of power, struck out 44% of the time. So I assume that the opportunity isn't going to be there for him, but he hit 5 home runs in like 100 and something at bats. So he could do it if he gets like 500 or 600 at bats. He could have like a 30 homer season. He's got the tools and lots of power. And then the A's also selected Ryan Noda in the Rule 5 draft. He hit 25 home runs in AAA. So 25 is really my baseline here. I'm going to go ahead and say that the A's do not trade Seth Brown. I'm going to be optimistic about something. Super optimistic about something. It's going to be a Festivus miracle if Seth Brown is still on this team. But I'm going to go Seth Brown. But those are the other guys that are boppers. Also, they got Esteury Ruiz, and he hit a bunch of like 16 home runs in AAA last year. I think that he's going to steal more bases than any of your power hitters hit. But yeah, I think that it's probably going to be Seth Brown.
Well, Semien steals bases now, so because he's not on the A's.
Ha ha ha. Glad that we could do this another time, Bryce. All right. Coming up on the show, we are going to be explaining just regular things that happen in day-to-day life as miracles, Festivus miracles. So stay locked in, you guys. And so for YouTube people, there's no ads. We just jump straight into it. We're back again doing some of this. So I think it's Wikipedia you got this from, Bryce?
It is. It is my source.
It as easily explained events that are declared miracles or miraculous. These are Festivus miracles. And so I'm gonna start this time. Screw it. I'm gonna go ahead and say that people showing up to A's games, Festivus miracle, because ownership is really. I'm not saying that the A's don't deserve our love. I love the A's. I will support the A's, but going to games is harder for me because of the baby. But also, ownership is making it so that it's harder to go. Prices have doubled since they traded everybody. They're talking about maybe moving to Vegas, and also they just traded everybody away. why should people want to go to A's games? So that's where the Festivus miracle comes in. People, I assume there will be a handful of people that go, but I think that it'll take a small holiday miracle for it to happen. I don't know where I haven't started. Bryce, have I started with you on one of these? I'll start with you this time.
Sure. So we're going for Festivus miracles that will happen or Festivus miracles past?
It's up to you. I don't care.
Well, I'm going to go Festivus miracle of the past and say keeping Corey Seager healthy was a Festivus miracle. He has not been a guy. He's been a guy who's been really snake bitten by random injuries. He has not played more than 150 games before this year. Since his rookie year in 2016, he had another season where he had 145 games. But other than that, he only had one other season where he played 100 plus games. The Rangers did a really good job of keeping him healthy. His splits from at home versus on the road were like 200 points different OPS wise. Loved hitting at Globe Life Field. Won a World Series there, won a World Series MVP. I think that's a big chunk of why he signed with Texas. That, and they gave him $325 million, which sure helps. But if I'm hoping for a Festivus miracle for next year, it would be a healthy Jacob deGrom season. Let's just parlay that health into good things for next year.
Good luck with that one, Bryce. I mean, let's rain on your parade a little bit. I don't have his stat line in front of me, but he has faced the A's once at the Coliseum. Just once in general. 4 innings, gave up like 6 runs, I believe. 5 or 6 runs. It was a bad outing. Ken Waldichuk got his first win of his career against Jacob deGrom, and now he's just sitting there waiting to be beaten again and again by one Ken Waldichuk. I'm very excited about Ken Waldichuk.
I really wanted him at the deadline, honestly, and I was pissed that you got him.
His other win in his professional career came on the final day of the season against Shohei Ohtani. So,
wow, ace killer.
Career. Yeah, ace destroyer right here. I am A's built for the future right now.
And future Ranger Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see about that. And now we can put that all in our titles is defeat the algorithm, everybody. Also comment below and say how handsome we are. Nick, let's go over to you. What miracle do you think might happen on the South Side?
A miracle that the Chicago White Sox front office and organization continue to spend actual American dollars in this competitive window. It has been a little over 6 years since they traded away Chris Sale for Yoan Moncada and Michael Kopech. The great rebuild began. They have never went and got that capstone piece. We thought they were going to really go after Manny Machado. They tried to do it on their terms. They were also supposed to be in on Bryce Harper. That didn't happen. There's been a bunch of other talented guys that they never really paid premium money for premium talent. So, you see them throw money at Andrew Benintendi. We'll see if that actually works out, but a miracle would be if they actually continued to spend and maybe went after Gene Segura or got some more catching depth. We will see, but there are a lot of holes, and we have a ton of talent on this team for 2023. They were embarrassed last year. The general manager has got his guy now finally in place, and Pedro Grifol is the new manager. Keep spending money. That would be an absolute miracle for Southside fans.
I do have an option to fulfill that miracle that actually ties into 3 of our 4 teams, and that would be to bring back the great Elvis Andrus. I was so happy to see him thrive with the White Sox and to be disrespected by having to wear an A's uniform. Very upsetting for me personally.
He didn't like it either, apparently.
He was a huge fan favorite, Bryce. I mean, for his limited time in a White Sox uniform, he did all the right things. And, there were so many bad moments. He was looked at as the guy that, played hard, actually cared. And it was like, this guy hasn't been around that long. And he's like all of a sudden the clubhouse leader. So there's a huge swell to bring him back, but move him to second base.
Yeah, Rangers still love him, like part of the greatest teams in Rangers franchise history. Want nothing but good things for that guy.
Yeah, we
and
loved
apparently
him.
playing in Oakland, not one of those nice things.
I said nice things. That's not a nice thing.
I did love Elvis Andrus. He was always having fun playing the game, and there was a couple of times where he got tagged out, and he was in a rundown one time, and he like got tagged, and they called interference or something like that, and he got to score. I forget the exact. It was 2 years ago, but it was very, very heads up play on his part, and good job to Elvis Andrus for getting that one run in Minnesota, I believe. So that was fun. Scott, I feel like you got a lot of miracles in your back pocket. What are we going with here?
Yeah, so mine, when I was thinking about how I wanted to articulate my miracle, I think mine is just going to be literally anything good to happen. I think that's going to be pretty much my miracle. I'm not kidding. If this team was like the Yankees or like a big market team where like everything that happened was national news, a lot more people would truly realize how absolutely unparalleled this season was to anything we've ever seen before on a like daily basis. Yeah, I just want like something good to happen. They're literally like the only thing I think that we really could hang our hat on last year was Chris Fetter, the new pitching coach. He's been here 2 years now, but newer addition to the pitching staff, and he's widely considered to be one of the best pitching coaches in the league. And we have a lot of young pitching talent that was I guess solid last season. That's like the big thing. So yeah, like I just want anything positive to like happen on the baseball field, whether that's like Torkelson, figuring it out and taking a big step forward, whether that's Riley Green taking a big step forward, whether that's like Javi living up to what we paid him to be, whether that, I mean, like not having a worse offense than like the 114 and 119 lost teams that I've seen in my lifetime. Like anything good would just be great. So I'm not going to be too specific because I don't need to be. And that's the luxury and the pleasure and the privilege that I have.
I mean, on the bright side, Matthew Boyd back with the team. So that's nice. Is that good? I don't know. I think that's good. Nice. Enjoyable.
You know what? Ask the fans in this city. You're gonna get a different answer pretty much with every person you ask. I'd say amazing human being. That's undisputable. Great dude. But yeah, the fact that we've made 2 major league additions this offseason after having one of the worst offenses any of us have ever seen, and neither of them are bats, is definitely a decision that has been made. So.
Well, if you hold the opposition to 0 runs, you got a shot. So there's that.
There you go. We can just drag it into extra innings when we lost like all of our extra inning games last year.
Oh, man.
I think that's like the most depressing answer we've had like in the history of this series. Like that was like hats off to you. Like that was. I'm really sorry for you, man.
Super depressing. Yep. That's my mantra right there. Yeah.
You nailed it, man. Gosh.
So I do have to say the last time that I think I talked to you, Scott, we did a crossover, and I believe I titled the YouTube episode, "Are the Tigers going to be a good team in 2022?" Because I was like optimistic about the team, and I feel so bad for doing that now and like getting expectations up or hopes. I don't know. So
there were a lot of hopes, and like after last offseason, like if it was like universally agreed on from like all the national outlets, I thought like, yeah, no, the Tigers had a better offseason than the Rangers. Like they're gonna be way better than them, and I was like, I don't know about that. But I didn't see this. Actually, I think the Rangers were only 2 wins better, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
This is not going to make you feel any better, but we were, as Sox fans, we were like, watch out for Tigers this year. You got AJ Hinch, who we were supposed to get. That was supposed to be our manager that our general manager wanted. Instead, the owner pushed La Russa down our throats. But you guys have the young pitching. We were like, oh, man, things are aligning. And they spent money on Baez, but we kind of knew just from seeing them on the north side what you guys were going to get in Baez. But we were scared. But you guys got hit with the injury bug, didn't you?
Yeah, that would be an understatement. Yeah, I would say yes. That's definitely that definitely did not help. We had, I want to say we ended the season with 18 or 19 different players record a start on the mound, which was comfortably the most in baseball. Almost 20 different starting pitchers used. And then offensively, we set the American League record for team like getting shut out the most in a single season. So there you go for just like everything. The only thing that was good was the bullpen. Everything else was pretty bad. And yeah, like when it comes to managing like expectations, like it was definitely a letdown for us. But I think the White Sox and or the Giants were probably the two teams that, like, when you consider like preseason expectations, I mean, I'm with you. I would say that those two, and then us kind of like in the tier below you and the Giants are probably like the, disappointing. Just a lot went wrong this year for a lot of people presently talking. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before our team spent any money, we were all about, like, our big thing was everyone's gonna return to accustomed levels. Watch this. Wait and see. Yeah. Everybody's gonna get healthy. We're just gonna return to form. That's our big off season.
Anyways, that's the show for today. Thank you guys all so much for making Locked On A's, White Sox, Tigers, and Rangers your first listen of the day. Now, go make Locked On Sports Today your second listen, because Peter Bukowski is super handsome, and he brings you the biggest stories around the sports world in 20 minutes. Get the analysts and opinions before anyone else with our local and national experts and insiders. Locked On Sports Today. It's a podcast. It's available on YouTube and wherever you get podcasts. All of these shows, A's, White Sox, Tigers, and Rangers, are also available on YouTube. Go subscribe, like, and comment on each of our channels, because we're all very, very good and we're trying so hard. But before we sign out, I am at by Jason B on Twitter. You can find the show at Locked On A's on Twitter and Instagram. Nick, where can people find you one more time?
Find me at Nick_GGTB on Twitter, and the show at Locked On Sox.
Scotty, what about you?
At Bentley Scotty on Twitter is my personal, and then at Locked On Tigers. Almost said Red Wings there. Tigers for the show.
And Bryce, where can people find you?
You can find me at Bryce Patrick on Twitter and at Locked On Rangers for the show for some toxic positivity. Hopefully, I'm wishing toxic positivity on all of you this season so we can have fewer legitimate reasons to air our grievances next year, but still find some anyway.
Oh, we're going to find so many throughout the course of the season. It's going to be great. That's what being a baseball fan is. If your team blows any lead, your bullpen is trash. So that's baseball fandom for you. But that's the show. Happy Festivus, everybody. Go out and celebrate good times, baseball fans.